Hey, I'm Todd.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Alan.
And
we're
we're
Selah.
Selah.
And we have a new album called Unbreakable that just came out. And I would say it is probably, as an album goes, probably the most diverse album we've ever done stylistically. It's probably my favorite album that we've done. And there's a lot of different variety, as far as the variety of songs. Obviously, I have a huge base of hymns that we do. But just a lot of different styles of songs. We even got a dancey song called Unbreakable.
Cool.
How would you describe that, Amy, because you found that one?
It's kind of pop. It's a little different of sound for us. A friend of ours wrote it named Aaron Rice and sent it to us, and we loved the lyrics. And so we thought, gosh, that's a fun, I don't know if it's 80s or what it is, just kind of cool pop sound. So we went ahead and that became the title, Unbreakable. So it's a good song. We're really excited about that.
Yeah, we haven't really done a track like that. And there's another track on there, one of my favorites. It's called, it's a little medley. Amy starts the album off singing this beautiful old hymn called Got Any Rivers that she sung for a while. And I've always loved that. And then there's a song, we always, over our whole, this is our 20th year. So we've had a 20-year career, which is really exciting. But on every album, we usually have a throwback to like classic, Christian artists that we grew up with, like Russ Taff, Andre Crouch, those kind of artists. We kind of reach back into the history of Christian music, if you want to say that, and pull a song. So there's a song called Carry You by an artist named Leslie Phillips, and I think it was late 80s when this one came out. She's written some beautiful, beautiful songs, and she went on into the pop market now, but this song came out late 80s on, I think, might have been her last Christian album called The Turning. But it's really powerful. It's called Carry You. And I've wanted us to record it for years and years, but it never quite, as each album kind of takes its own shape, it never seemed to fit anywhere. But then when Amy had this opening hymn, I thought, man, her hymn, Got Any Rivers, that you feel are uncrossable. And then kind of one of the main lyrics of Carry You starts right off saying, when the water is too high, I will carry you. And I thought, man, these really pair together. So, and the track itself is just kind of we haven't really done that kind of feel. So it's really cool. So
It is, I know the first time, because we sang it, and then it was months later the first time I heard the full track, and I was just like, what am I hearing? This is so cool. I loved it. But I think the whole record in itself, it is a little different. And I know we recorded over a long period of time, and then during that time, we kind of found some other songs, and so I think there was a point where we actually kind of had to listen to a lot more than we were going to put on the record and kind of make some cuts and decide what really fits what we want to say and that, what we want to people to feel when they listen to it. And so I know at one point we were kind of listening down and we felt like there was a lot of Todd songs.
It was a lot.
It's like a Todd solo project. And so it kind of came down to, okay, now we have to find a song for me. And it seems like that would be something that was easy, but like nothing was feeling right. Like we just couldn't really make any decisions on what I wanted to sing. And then this song came our way, and it's called Broken Ladders. And I just thought, well, that's a weird title. And then I pushed play on the demo, and it was just so beautiful. I mean, it just broke my heart in half because I've struggled my entire life with my weight, and finally started getting that under control, and then became a mom, and then everything's haywire, and there's just so many times during my day where I feel like I'm failing as a wife and a mom, and I think that social media has really changed the landscape of how we do everything in our lives. And so I just found myself kind of comparing myself to all these other moms on either Twitter or Instagram, and just feeling like I was not measuring up because, my kid's party wasn't as spectacular as that kid's party or whatever. And the first time I heard the lyrics to Broken Ladders, it just reminded me that there's no one telling me I have to be anything. There's no standard that I have to achieve before I'm good enough for God to love me. And I think so many times, even once we already know Jesus, we think we have to get ourselves all pretty and shiny for Him and fix our situation and be so much and strive. And it wears us out, and it just brings us further from the Lord. And He's not saying, make yourself perfect and then come to me. He says, come to me, ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I'll do the work, you just have to come to me. And so this song says that all He ever wanted was my heart, my simple heart. And for me, that's huge to remember, is that I don't have to be anything, I don't have to try to do anything for God to love me. And so for me, that's probably one of my favorite songs on the album, just because it spoke to me so deeply. And I know Todd, we were done with the record, and you brought us a song that we did
Hounded.
not want to listen to.
hounded
We
a song.
were like, no, we don't want to hear one more song.
Yeah, we've been recording for probably 2.5 years, and you just get to the point where you're finally like, okay, we've got everything, we're set. And then my wife heard a song called I Got Saved at a women's conference that she was speaking at, and really lifted her out of a dark season she was going into. Jenny Lee Riddle wrote it with a gentleman named Corey Voss and Crystal Yates, and Jenny wrote Revelation song, which, if you know, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. So she wrote that one. She's just someone who really walks with Jesus, and sang this song as Angie was speaking at this women's conference, and Angie was so moved by it. The next day she waited, she spoke, and then waited for them to sing, hoping they would sing it again so that she could video it, so that she could play it for me and go, you guys need to record this. And so she did, called me and said, are you guys done with your album? And I'm like, yeah, we're done, we're tired. She's like, you've got to hear this song, you've got to hear this song. And I was like, I'll listen to it, but there's no way we're going to record it because we're tired. And came home and played it for me one time, and I just got chills and just instantly related to the simple message of being saved, you know. And it brought me back to, you know, it says, I'm undone by the mercy of Jesus, I'm undone by the goodness of the Lord. You know, it's all pointing to who he is and what he has done and how he has redeemed us, and how when you really look at what he saved us from, you know. And for me as a 5-year-old boy, remember, you know, that's when I accepted him. There was a pastor at a small town church in Michigan who shared the gospel, and it made sense. And I prayed with my mom later that night, later that day at our house. And so one of the things we thought of is, what if we got people to share their testimonies? What if we got them to share their I Got Saved stories? So what we would love you to do, and if you go on YouTube or you go on Facebook and you search it, you'll see hashtag I Got Saved. And you'll see all these stories, and from 15-year-olds to 85-year-olds who are sharing how they came to faith. And the reason why we think that's so critical in this day and age is Revelation 12:11 says that they overcame the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And it's so important that we share our stories of how we came to Jesus and what he did, so that it's real for us. We're reminded of that, but also so that we can encourage other people who are searching and they're wanting to know, how do you find fullness, or why do you have hope? And whereas, you know, we're in a day and age where people can refute this and refute that, they can't refute your own experience as far as what God has done in your life and how he's transformed your life. And so this song, why don't we sing a little bit for him of it? What's the key? I'm undone by the mercy of Jesus. I'm undone by the goodness of the Lord. I'm restored and made right. He got a hold of my life. I've got Jesus. How could I want more? I'm undone by the mercy of Jesus. I'm undone by the goodness of the Lord. I'm restored and made right. He got a hold of my life. I've got Jesus. How could I want more? I've got Jesus. How could I want more? I've got Jesus. How could I want more? So yeah, share with us your I Got Saved story. Just go on your phone, record your story in 1 to 3 minutes of how Jesus saved you, how you came to faith, and then title it hashtag I Got Saved, and then your name, and put it up there. Put it up there for us and for the world to hear.